Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the council meeting. Welcome to the councillors, the staff and the media and all those people who are watching us from home to the council meeting of the 3rd of February. Welcome to the meeting, but before we just do get into the meeting, I'd just like to acknowledge the passing of Bevan Rickaby. And Bevan was here, he wasn't here for a long time, he was here for a short time, but he did so much. He was our economic development manager, and reflecting back, he was a likeable person, conscientious, and he got things done, and he'll be missed by all. But before I just go to a bit of moment of silence from Hamish, did you want to say anything?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bevan made a real impression as a member of our team. We loved his energy and enthusiasm, his can-do attitude. He was really successful at raising funding for projects. He was tireless in the effort he made for the benefit of the wider Ashburton district, and we miss him a lot. Thank you.
And there'll be the memorial service for Bevan on Thursday at 1 o'clock at the hotel. Everyone's more than welcome to attend. So we'll just have a moment's silence in honour of Bevan. Thank you, and I'll call for apologies, but I think Angus. Angus move we accept apology from Angus. Councillor John and Lane, all in favour, please say aye. Aye. Extraordinary business, I know of none. Is there any extraordinary business? No. Declarations of interest? No. We'll move on to the minutes of the council meeting 17th of December 2020, and any alterations or additions on page 3 of my paper. I'm on paper. Stella's the same? Good. Page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9. So I'd like to move that the true and accurate record, Councillor McMillan, Councillor Lovett, all those in favour please say aye. Aye. Carried. Moving over to page 10, the extraordinary council meeting of 23rd of December, and any alterations or additions. Page 10. 11. Carolyn, you got your light on. It's just warming up, I think. Yeah, that's right. That's fine. A mover and a seconder that this true and accurate record.
I'll move.
Councillor Rawlinson, Councillor Brown, all in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. To reports, item number 6, change in accounting policy, property, plant and equipment. And Mr. Brake is here. Anything further to add, Paul? Explanation?
To Mr. Mayor, I think the report's fairly clear. It's not a requirement to annually revalue the assets. What is a requirement is to show them at their fair value. We had difficulty with that in the past, of showing that from year to year in the annual report, so hence we went to an annual revaluation. Now that our assets are in a proper asset system, it should be easy for us to just apply an index and see whether they're at fair value, and then we'd only need to do a revaluation if they weren't. So it's proposed here that we don't do an annual revaluation. That'll speed up the annual report process and will save council about $18,000 a year.
Any questions of Paul before we move to the motion? Councillor Falloon.
Yeah, just from a practical point of view, we've now presumably got those assets in our accounts at the last annual revaluation. Does that mean that from now on those items will stay in there and just continually get depreciated, but new assets will just go in at cost less depreciation? or will there be an adjustment to
No.
those already in there?
No, you're correct. The assets will stay there now at their revalued amount until another revaluation is required, and new assets will just be bought in at cost.
Councillor Wilson?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I see in the original list, plant is not there, but I see in option 1 you've got plant in. I thought plant would have to be, you'd value it more often annually, wouldn't you? Because plant depreciates quite quicker rather than property.
And we don't revalue plant items as such, so they're not part of this. Revaluations are just infrastructural assets, so it's only those that are getting we're getting revalued annually, other than investment property, which is under a different accounting requirement and needs to carry on being revalued. So effectively, the only revaluations annually we're going to be doing from now on is investment property.
Well, supplementary question, you've got plant in option 1 listed.
Oh, property, plant and equipment is an accounting heading of which generally refers to the infrastructural assets. So when you see plant there, it's not actually the plant that you're thinking of, which is your motor vehicles and stuff like that. That will just get carried on. That's always in there at cost and will continue to be at cost.
Councillor Flynn?
Yeah, just a comment. I had nothing to do the other night, so I actually looked up and read this new accounting standard. And for the accounting standards is concerned, this actually makes some practical sense. So if there are no further questions, I would be pleased to move the recommendation that the council amends its accounting policies to no longer require an annual revaluation of property, plant and equipment.
Councillor Flynn moved, seconded Councillor Cameron. Open for debate. With there being no debate, I'll put the motion on in favour. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Next item, number 7, plant renewal account changed to a separate reserve. Mr Brake again.
Through you, Mr Mayor, this is really just a change to make it administratively easier to deal with. The plant account will still have its own balance and continue rolling forward, but it'll be treated just like a water, like for example the Ashburton water supply, where it has its own balance carried forward. The plant will be done this way. At the moment it's treated as a special fund. Special funds were set up under the Local Government Act, under a provision under the Local Government Act, it's been sitting as a special fund for a very long time. It's unclear how you get rid of a special fund now, because the Local Government Act doesn't have special fund provisions in it, but because it was set up under a council resolution, it's probably wise to actually remove it as with a council resolution. So it won't change the fact that the plant account will still have its own balance carried forward, but it'll be what's called a separate reserve rather than a special fund.
Questions? Councillor Flynn?
The only question I have is why has this not been done before?
Good things take time. Someone like to move the recommendation? Councillor Braham, Councillor Letham. Open for debate. Councillor Braham.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
If there being no debate, I'll put the recommendation. I'm in favour. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 8, winding up of Experience Mid Canterbury Trust. Mr Brake again.
Through Mr Mayor, this is really just a report informing you that it is wound up. It's an interesting situation that their trust deed allowed them to wind up without really a council approval. I don't think it's a surprise that that's what they were going to do, but it was a surprise that we didn't have a part to actually authorise that. So they have wound up, and the only issue remaining with them is there's 2 sets of accounts outstanding, the June 19 and June 20 accounts, both still sitting with Audit New Zealand. So we'll take that over ourselves to get that through and then get the final funds or any balance transferred back to council. So, yeah, effectively at the moment, EMC's wound up. Their contract with Christchurch Tourism is
Christchurch NZ. Yeah.
Christchurch NZ reverts back to us. So effectively with EMC no longer existing, that contract is now with us. And I note that there is a report coming on the future delivery of tourism promotion in the district at a future meeting.
Councillor Miller.
Thank you. And through the chair, just a couple of questions on the contract. How long's that contract? It was a year contract, so that
12 months, so it expires 30 June.
30 June.
And we've signalled to representatives of Christchurch, New Zealand, that there's a review process for us to go through in the next couple of months.
Okay, thank you. And when are you thinking that the separate report will come out? Would that obviously be before the 30th of June or?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
We're anticipating through Mr Mayor a mid-March
Right.
timetable, so about a month away.
Thank you.
Councillor Falloon.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Any outstanding cash or liabilities, who takes responsibility for those?
Through Mr Mayor, it'll come to cash or liabilities. It should be cash, as I understand, will come to council, and it needs to be applied for the same purposes as the trust, which means that it can help fund any future tourism promotion.
Councillor Wilson.
Nothing further, I'll move the recommendation, 1 and 2.
Second. And that council acknowledges the winding up of Experiencement Canterbury, and council thanks the board members for their contribution. And if it's passed, I'll send a letter thanking them each and individually for their contribution over the time they've been on the board. So, any further debate? Any debate? If not, I'll put the motion. I'm in favour. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Ashburton Water Zone Committee. Terms of reference. Any questions, Hamish, leading this one?
No, I think the terms of reference follow from the letters of shared priorities that you've already seen and approved. So we're here to answer any questions, Mr Mayor.
Yep. And we're looking for zone committee members, which is, I think, maybe advertising at the moment or very close to it if it hasn't already. So they'll be out shortly for new members to join the zone committee. I know there's 3 vacancies. Yep. If no questions, Councillor Lovett.
I'm just going to ask who scrutinises these applications for the future, just to make sure we've got an even balance through the community. You know, because I mean, there's some major decisions this group do, and just to have an even balance of opinions, you know, around and that sitting around the table.
There is a. Oh, you've got it. In the document, there's exactly how they do that, on who sits on the appointments committee. It has an independent chair, and I'm just trying to look here for it now, but.
Yeah, I saw that.
Page 30, is it? Yeah. It is, the balance is, as you say, is needed and is correct. So, and they need to be people who can contribute as well in a meaningful way.
That's where I was coming from, like if it's loaded with interest groups.
Just noting through you, Mr Mayor, this is a joint council, a joint committee of Ashburton District Council and Environment Canterbury. So you can see that the panel includes representatives of both councils, as well as iwi.
Councillor Falloon?
Yeah, just thank you. Just a point. I mean, with the government's new water proposals, is there any point in having these water zone committees, or will they become part of a new bureaucracy.
Through you, Mr Mayor, the intention of the zone committees going forward is that they focus a lot more on implementation. And so the reason that the letter of shared priorities came before you last year was to focus on the sorts of projects that their energy can support and move along, as opposed to wider policy or conversations. So they're trying to refocus the zone committees on implementation and doing, rather than considering and policy. So in that context, we think the zone committees have a really important role to play going forward.
So I'd like to move the recommendation. Councillor Lovett. Councillor Wilson second. Open to debate. Being no debate, I'll put the motion. All in favour. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. It's carried. Making good progress here today, councillors. Beat all records. You almost think it was Environmental Services Committee. Item number 10, the Mayor's report. And item number 1, the Tuia Mace Grey we've chosen for the Tuia this year, and Councillor McMillan will be assisting in mentoring the Tuia this year. So thank you, Liz. And looking at the mayoral calendar, I'd just like to thank councillors for their attendance when I wasn't at some events, because I'd been double booked or had other engagements on. So thank you for that. And just also like to make mention of the this Saturday, the Multicultural Bite being moved to the Domain this year, and also there's Waitangi at the Pa, which is at the Hakateri Marae, which is at 3 p.m. on Saturday, which is after the Multicultural Bite in the Domain. So 2 events worth attending, all welcome to go. That's not just councillors, but all of Ashburton people or further afield are more than welcome to attend either of those events, and they're generally quite good, having attended them before. Any questions on the Mayor's report? If not, I'll move that the council receive the Mayor's report. Seconder?
I'll second.
McMillan? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. That takes us to the end of the open part of the meeting. Just before we do go there, I'll just see the letter there from Mountain Bike Ashburton. So nice to receive a letter from them. It's good with the photos. I'll move that we move into committee for second up.
Yeah,
Councillor McMillan, all in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried. Thank you.